My beloved, the grief has been a heavy cloak upon your shoulders. My child, has it not? Its weight has been constant, its texture coarse against your spirit, and its dark color has seemed to dye the very fabric of your existence. You have worn this garment of sorrow for so long that you have forgotten what it feels like to stand up straight, to feel the warmth of the sun on your skin, to breathe the free and easy air of a life unburdened by loss. They, the world, have looked upon you, wrapped in this somber mantle, and they have concluded that this is who you are now, a person defined by your sadness, a life forever marked by what has been taken away. And you, my beloved, in the profound weariness of your mourning, have begun to believe them, fearing that this heavy cloak of sorrow is the only garment you will ever wear, that your story is now and will forever be a tragedy. You know the weight of this cloak so well, my precious one. It is a weight that you feel upon waking, a heaviness that greets you before you have even opened your eyes, a sorrowful reminder of the empty space beside you, the dream that has died, the hope that has been lost. It is a weight that you carry with you through your day, making every task an effort, every interaction a performance, every attempt at joy feel hollow and inauthentic. You have tried to set this burden down, but you have found that it is not a package you can simply leave by the side of the road. It has felt like a part of you, woven into the very sinews of your soul, and this cloak has been a thing of darkness, obscuring your vision, muting the colors of your world, the simple beauties of my creation, which once brought you such delight, have seemed to lose their luster when viewed through the dark veil of your grief. The joys of others, which you once celebrated, have sometimes felt like a painful spotlight, highlighting the profound nature of your own loss. And your own future has appeared as a dark and featureless landscape, a path shrouded in a fog of sorrow, with no light to guide your way. In this darkness, my child, you have felt profoundly isolated, for grief is a lonely country, a land whose language only those who have journeyed there can truly understand. You have been surrounded by people, perhaps, but you have felt a great distance between your heart and theirs. They live in the sunlit world of the unbroken, and you have been dwelling in the shadowed realm of the bereaved. Their well-meaning words of comfort have often felt like stones, their attempts to cheer you up like a denial of the very real and very necessary work of your mourning. And so, you have learned to wear your cloak of sorrow silently, to grieve in secret, believing that no one can truly understand or share the immense weight you are carrying. And the greatest fear that this heavy cloak has brought upon you, my child, is the fear that it is your permanent reality. You have feared that the grief will never live, that the ache will never subside, that your life will be forever defined by this great and profound loss. You have feared that you have become your sorrow, that your identity has been irrevocably merged with your pain. This is the ultimate despair of a grieving heart, the belief that the mourning will never end, that there will be no mourning for your soul. But I come to you now, my precious, sorrowful child, as you sit enveloped in this heavy cloak of your grief. I come not to chide you for your sadness, not to rush you through your mourning. I come to sit with you in your sorrow, to honor your every tear, to feel with you the full weight of your loss. And I come to speak a word of such profound, creative, and transformative power that it will begin to change the very nature of your grief itself. Listen to me, my beloved, for I am the master weaver, the divine alchemist, the God who does not just comfort in sorrow, but who redeems it, who transforms it. And my promise to you is this: I will take the very cloak of grief that you are wearing, and with my own loving and skillful hands, I will turn your grief into glory. You have believed your grief to be an ending, a final, tragic statement on your life, but in my hands. My child, your grief is not an end. It is a raw material. It is a precious, dark, and profoundly rich thread that I will now use to weave a new and magnificent garment for your soul. It is a thread that will give your life a new depth, a new character, a new and beautiful capacity for compassion, for wisdom, for a joy that is more resilient and more profound than any you have ever known. I do not see your grief as your enemy, my beloved. I see it as a sacred space, a holy ground, a place where the deepest and most transformative work of my grace can now be done. It is in the very heart of your sorrow that you will discover my comfort in a new and more intimate way. It is in the very emptiness of your loss that you will discover my all-sufficient presence as your true and lasting fullness. So do not despair, my child. Do not believe the lie that your grief will be your final story. It is but a single, sorrowful, yet profoundly purposeful chapter. And now the page is turning. I am taking up the dark threads of your sorrow, and I am beginning to weave them together with the golden threads of my grace, the silver threads of my hope, and the radiant threads of my own glory. The work of transformation has begun, and the heavy cloak of your sorrow, I promise you, will become a magnificent mantle of praise, a glorious testament to the God who can take the deepest grief and turn it into an everlasting glory. Yes, my precious child, as you sit enveloped in the heavy, dark cloak of your sorrow, your spirit aching with a grief that has felt so solitary, so unseen, you must now understand the profound reality of my presence with you in this very place. You have believed that your weeping has created a distance between us, that your pain has been a barrier to my presence. You have feared that I, a God of joy and of light, must surely turn away from the messy, uncomfortable, and profound darkness of your mourning. But this is a lie born of a world that is terrified of authentic sorrow. I am here to tell you a truth that is at the very core of my character, a truth that will, if you receive it, begin to transform your loneliness into a sacred communion. I am the God who sees your tears. I am not a distant observer of your pain. I am an intimate witness to your every moment of grief, and I am not repulsed by your broken heart. My beloved, I am drawn to it, for it is in the very depth of your sorrow that I see the magnificent potential for your most profound and radiant glory. The world you live in is uncomfortable with grief. It does not know what to do with a heart that is truly broken. It offers its shallow platitudes. It grows impatient with the slowness of the mourning process. And it often, in the end, simply turns away, leaving the grieving one in a state of profound and painful isolation. And you, my child, have experienced this. You have learned to hide the true depth of your sorrow, to wear a mask of "I'm fine" for a world that cannot handle your truth. And in doing so, you have come to believe that your grief is a shameful, private thing. a state that must be endured alone. But I'm not the world. My child, I do not turn away from a broken heart. I run towards it. Your brokenness is not a barrier to my presence. It is an invitation that my loving, compassionate heart cannot refuse. A heart that is self-sufficient, that is proud, that believes it has no need of me, is a heart that is, in a sense, closed to my deepest work, but a heart that has been broken open by grief, a heart that is raw, that is vulnerable, that knows its own profound need. That, my child, is a heart that has become a wide open doorway for my spirit to enter in a new and profoundly intimate way. Your sorrow has not pushed me away. It has drawn me nearer than ever before. I am the God who sees your tears. Think of the significance of this. My beloved, not a single tear you have shed has been unseen by me. The tears you have wept in the silent darkness of your room, the tears you have choked back in the midst of a crowd, the sudden, hot tears that have sprung to your eyes at the triggering of a painful memory. I have been present for every single one, and I haven't just seen them as a chemical reaction, a biological process. I have seen them as the sacred, liquid language of your soul, a prayer more eloquent than any words, a communication that is spoken to my own heart with a profound and beautiful clarity. In your tears of loss, I have heard the depth of your love for what and who has gone. In your tears of frustration, I have heard the passionate cry of your spirit for justice and for righteousness. In your tears of weariness, I have heard the humble surrender of a soul that has come to the end of its own strength. Your tears have been your truest, most authentic communication with me in this season. And I have honored them. I have received them. And I have treasured them as a precious and holy offering, and as I have been the witness to your grief. My child, my perspective has been entirely different from your own. While you have seen only the pain, I have seen the potential. While you have seen only the sorrow, I have seen the sacred soil being prepared. While you have seen only the end of a chapter, I have seen the magnificent beginning of a new one. For I am the divine alchemist, and I know that the very substance of your grief, when yielded to me, is the raw material from which I will forge your most beautiful and radiant glory. The world sees your grief and sees only a negative, a deficit, a thing to be gotten over as quickly as possible. But I see your grief, and I see a magnificent, a holy, and creative opportunity. I see the capacity for a new depth of character being carved out within you. I see the potential for a new and profound compassion being born. I see the making of a soul that will be so much more beautiful, so much more resilient, so much more wise, because it has journeyed through this deep and sacred sorrow. Let this new understanding begin to heal your feeling of isolation. My precious one, you are not alone in your grief. I am with you. I am your intimate companion, your silent witness, your most compassionate comforter. And I am also your purposeful redeemer, the one who is already at work, taking the very substance of your sorrow and beginning the magnificent alchemical process of turning your grief into glory. So do not hide your tears from me, my child. Do not be ashamed of your sorrow. See it, instead, as a sacred space, a holy ground, where you and I are meeting in a new and profoundly intimate way. And trust, my beloved, trust that I, the God who sees your every tear, I am not just seeing your pain, I am seeing your coming glory. And it is a glory that will be all the more magnificent for the very depth of the grief from which it has been so beautifully, so powerfully, so redemptively born. And so, my precious child, as you begin to trust that I am the intimate and loving witness to your every tear, that I see not just your present pain, but your future potential, let me now lead you into the very workshop of my grace and reveal to you the sacred process by which I will turn your grief into glory. For this is not a magical sleight of hand, but a profound and holy process of divine alchemy, a spiritual transfiguration that takes the very substance of your sorrow and transforms it into a new and magnificent reality. You must understand how I work, my beloved, for in this understanding, you will find the faith to cooperate with me, to yield the raw material of your heart, and to witness the beautiful, miraculous alchemy of a broken heart being made glorious. The world sees your grief as a purely destructive force, a state of decay from which nothing good can come. But I am the God who created the universe from that which was unseen, the God who brings life from death. And my greatest work, my most beautiful artistry, is often done with very materials that the world discards. Your grief, my child, your broken heart, your sorrow, these are not waste products in my sight. They are the precious, potent, and essential raw materials for the magnificent work I am now undertaking in your soul. The first part of the sacred alchemy involves the very weight of your grief. You have felt it as a crushing burden, a heaviness that has made it difficult to even breathe. But in my hands, this very weight becomes a divine and purposeful tool. It is the pressure that is required to form a diamond. It is the immense force that is forging within you a new and profound depth of character. A life that has never known the weight of sorrow is a shallow life, a life that floats upon the surface of things, unable to access the deep, rich treasures that lie below. But your grief, my child, has been a sacred weight, pressing you down past all the superficialities into the deep and authentic realities of your own soul and of mine. This weight is forging in you a character of substance, of gravitas, of a seriousness that is not morbid, but beautiful and profound. And the tears you have shed, my beloved, the river of your loss that has felt so overwhelming, these tears have been my holy water, preparing the very soil of your heart for a new and glorious planting. A heart that has not been softened by its own tears can become a hard, dry, and barren ground, unable to receive the seeds of a new life. But your weeping, as you have yielded it to me, has been a sacred irrigation. It has been watering the parched ground of your spirit, making it soft, making it pliable, making it fertile. And it is into this very soil, this tear-softened heart, that I am now planting the magnificent seeds of a new and resilient compassion. Because you have known loss, you will be able to love with a new depth. Because you have known pain, you will be able to comfort with a new authenticity. The very tears that have felt like your undoing have been, in my hands, the very thing that is preparing you to become a magnificent source of life and healing for others. This entire process of transformation, my child, takes place within the crucible of my presence. A crucible is a vessel that can withstand immense heat, allowing the process of alchemy, of transformation, to occur within it. My loving, constant, and unconditional presence with you in your grief is that sacred crucible. You have felt as though you were in a fire of affliction, and you have feared that you would be consumed by it, but you have not been in the fire alone. You have been in the fire, held securely within the crucible of my love. And the fire, therefore, has not been a fire of destruction, but a holy fire of purification and transformation. In this crucible, I am the divine alchemist. I am the one who controls the heat. I am the one who oversees the process. I am the one who has taken the raw, base metal of your grief and am, with a love that is as skillful as it is powerful, transmuting it into the pure, shining gold of a new and glorious strength, a new and beautiful character, a new and radiant hope. This is my promise to you. My child, your grief will not have the final say. Your sorrow will not be your final story. For I am at work, in the very heart of your pain, performing a miracle of transformation. I will turn your mourning into dancing. I will give you a garment of praise for the spirit of heaviness. I will take the very substance of your greatest pain and make it the source of your greatest strength. Your most beautiful compassion, your most glorious testimony. Trust me in this process, my beloved. Yield your broken heart to me. Do not be afraid of the fire of the crucible, for I am with you in it, and it will not consume you, but will only serve to purify you and to bring forth the magnificent, eternal gold of the person I have always destined you to be. Your grief, in my hands, is becoming your glory. And so, my cherished child, as you learn to trust the sacred, alchemical process by which I am transforming the very substance of your sorrow, the time of your mourning now reaches its appointed and glorious end. The work in the crucible is nearing its completion. And I am here now to announce to you the magnificent result of this divine transformation, to declare the beginning of a new season, a new reality, a new and beautiful state of being for your soul. For I have promised you that I will turn your grief into glory, and that promise is now becoming your lived experience. The heavy, dark cloak of sorrow that you have worn for so long is now being lifted from your shoulders and in its place. My beloved, I am clothing you with a new garment, a magnificent mantle of praise, a radiant garment of glory. And this glory you will now wear is a new and resilient strength, a profound and unshakable peace, and a quiet, radiant joy that has been born from the very heart of your redeemed grief. This is the beautiful exchange of my kingdom. My child, I have taken your offering of ashes, the ashes of your burned out hopes, your dead dreams, your shattered life, and in return, I give you a crown of beauty. I have taken the spirit of heaviness that has so long oppressed you, and I now bestow upon you this garment of praise, this mantle of glory. It is a glory that is not of this world, not a fleeting fame or worldly honor. It is the very radiance of my own character, my own life, my own joy, now being formed in you and expressed through you as a direct result of the journey you have endured with me. Let us speak of this mantle of glory, my precious one. Feel its substance. The first thread from which it is woven is a new and magnificent strength. This is the glory of a character that has been tested by fire and has not been consumed. It is the glory of a faith that has wrestled with doubt and has emerged not weaker, but stronger, more authentic, more real. It is a quiet, humble, and resilient strength that you will now carry into every situation. You will no longer be easily shaken by the winds of circumstance, for your roots have been driven deep. You will no longer be shattered by disappointment, for your hope is now anchored in me, not in your desired outcomes. This strength, this glorious fruit of your endured grief, will be your new foundation, a beautiful, unshakable power that will be your testimony to the world. And woven into this mantle, my child, is the shining, silvery thread of a new and profound peace. The turmoil of your raw grief, the inner chaos of your sorrow, is now giving way to a deep, serene, and settled calm. It is the peace that comes from having journeyed through the valley of the shadow of death with me, your shepherd, and having discovered that you are safe, that you are held, that you are loved. Even there, this is not the fragile peace of a life that has known no trouble. It is the powerful, resilient peace of a battle-tested soul, a peace that surpasses all understanding, a peace that will now garrison your heart and your mind. This is the glory of a quieted spirit, a soul that has found its true and lasting rest in the very heart of its God. And see, my beloved, the most brilliant thread of all in this new garment, the radiant, golden thread of a new and resilient joy. You have believed, perhaps, that your capacity for true joy died in the depths of your sorrow. But I am the God of resurrection, and from the very grave of your old happiness, I am now bringing forth a new joy, a joy that is deeper, richer, and more lasting than any you have ever known. It is a joy that is made all the more precious, all the more sweet, because it has been born from your tears. It is a joy that is wise, that is compassionate, that is profoundly grateful for every small gift of light and of goodness. This radiant, quiet joy will now begin to be the very atmosphere of your soul, the light that shines from your eyes, a magnificent testament to the truth that your God can indeed turn the deepest mourning into a glorious and beautiful morning. This is the glory that I have been forging for you in the crucible of your grief. My child, a new strength, a new peace, a new joy, all woven together into a magnificent mantle of praise that you will now wear for all your days. This is my gift to you, the beautiful, triumphant result of your courageous, yielded sorrow. My delight is to see you clothed in this new garment, my beloved, to see you standing tall, your shoulders no longer stooped by the old, heavy cloak of sorrow, but adorned now with the light, beautiful, and powerful mantle of my glory. This transformation is my joy, my pride, my magnificent masterpiece of grace. Embrace this new reality, my child. The season of your mourning is giving way to the season of your glory. Your grief has been redeemed. Your pain has been transformed. And you are now, and will forever be, a beautiful, living testament to the God who can take the deepest sorrow and turn it, with a love that is as powerful as it is tender, into a new, magnificent, and everlasting glory. And so, my cherished child, as you begin to behold the glorious promise of your new mantle of praise, as you start to believe that I can and will transform your deepest sorrow into a radiant glory, the invitation now is for you to become my active and willing partner in this sacred, alchemical process. For while the power to transform is mine alone, The miracle happens most beautifully, most completely, in a heart that has learned how to consciously yield its grief to me. I desire now to guide you, my beloved, in this holy art of surrender, to teach you how to grieve with me, how to offer your pain to me as a sacred ingredient, and how to trust the beautiful, mysterious process by which I will fulfill my promise to turn your grief into glory. For so long, my child, your grieving has been a lonely, isolating experience. You have believed that your sorrow was a private burden to be carried, a dark room you had to inhabit all by yourself. When the waves of grief have come, you have either tried to fight them off in a desperate attempt to be strong, or you have been utterly submerged by them, believing yourself to be a helpless victim of their power. But I am inviting you now into a new way of grieving, a way that is not lonely, but is profoundly relational, a way that is not a passive suffering, but an active, faith-filled cooperation with my redemptive purpose. The first step in this sacred practice, my beloved, is to cease seeing your grief as your enemy and to begin to see it as an offering you can bring to me. When you feel that familiar ache begin to rise in your heart, when a memory brings a fresh wave of sorrow, do not resist it, and do not be consumed by it. Instead, in that very moment, I invite you to consciously turn the eyes of your spirit towards me and to make a simple, yet profoundly powerful offering. You can whisper in your soul, Father, this sorrow is here. I feel it, and I do not know what to do with it, so I give it to you. I yield this pain, this ache, this emptiness into your loving hands. I trust you to hold it. I trust you to use it. I trust you to transform it. This act of yielding, my child, is a magnificent act of faith. It is the moment you stop trying to manage your own grief and you allow me, your divine comforter and your loving alchemist, to begin my beautiful work. It is the act of placing the raw, dark, and heavy lead of your sorrow into the very crucible of my presence, trusting that the fire of my love will not destroy you, but will begin the miraculous process of transmuting that lead into the pure, shining gold of your new and glorious character. To grieve with me, my beloved, also means to be utterly, completely honest with me about the fullness of your pain. You do not need to edit your sorrow for me. You do not need to pretend it is less than it is. I am not afraid of the depth of your anguish. I am not offended by your cries of why. I am not put off by your feelings of anger, of confusion, of abandonment. Bring it all to me. My child, pour out your heart before me like water. The more honest you are with me about the true nature of your grief, the more deeply my grace can enter into those very places to bring its healing, its comfort, its transformation. Our intimacy is forged not in your stoic pretense, but in your vulnerable, authentic, and often messy honesty. And as you yield your grief to me in this way, my child, you are invited to let go of your need to understand the entire process. The alchemy by which I turn sorrow into glory is a divine mystery, a work that is often beyond the comprehension of the human mind. To trust me in this process is to release your need for answers, to let go of your demand to understand why, and to simply rest in the profound, peaceful assurance that the one who is in control is good, is wise, and is lovingly, masterfully, working all things, even this deep and painful grief, together for your ultimate and eternal good. I am with you always in this process. My precious one, I am not a distant alchemist working in a far-off laboratory. I am with you in the very crucible of your heart. When you weep, my spirit weeps with you. When you ache, my love surrounds you. I am your constant companion in this journey of grieving, your ever-present comfort, your unfailing strength. You are not doing this alone. We are doing this together. And as you continue to practice this sacred art of yielding your grief to me, you will begin to notice a miraculous change. The grief itself may still be present for a season, but its quality will begin to transform through old. Despairing bitterness will begin to give way to a new, tender poignancy. The old, chaotic turmoil will begin to be replaced by a new, quiet strength. And you will begin to see, with your own eyes, the beautiful fruits that are being born from this redeemed sorrow, a new compassion, a new wisdom, a new depth of character. This is the path, my beloved, by which I will fulfill my promise to you. Your grief, which has felt like a heavy, dark, and lifeless cloak, is now, through your yielded trust, becoming the very raw material, the precious thread, from which I am weaving your new and glorious mantle of praise. Trust the process, my child. Trust your alchemist, and continue to offer me the sacred, beautiful, and powerful gift of your yielded sorrow. For I promise you, I will turn your grief into a magnificent, eternal, and breathtaking glory. And so, my cherished child, as you learn to faithfully and trustingly yield the raw material of your sorrow into my loving, alchemical hands, a new and glorious reality begins to emerge from the crucible of your heart. The old, heavy lead of your grief, having been subjected to the purifying fire of my love, is now being transfigured into a substance of magnificent and radiant beauty. I invite you now, my beloved, to behold with me the glorious outcome of this sacred process, the profound and breathtaking radiance of a redeemed heart. For the person you are becoming is one whose very being now shines with a new and unique glory, a glory that is characterized by a deep empathy, a quiet strength, and a radiant peace that could only have been born from a sorrow that has been fully, beautifully, and divinely transformed. This is the glory I have promised you, my child. It is not the loud, fleeting glory of the world, which is based on outward success and public applause. No, this is a much deeper, more authentic, and more lasting glory. It is the quiet, radiant splendor of a soul that has journeyed through a profound darkness and has emerged, not unscathed, but beautifully, powerfully, wonderfully transfigured. It is the glory of your redeemed character, and it is a sight that causes all of heaven to rejoice. Behold the unique radiance that now begins to shine from you, my beloved. It is a light that is both gentle and strong. It is gentle because it has been born from a heart that has been made tender by its own tears. It is strong because it has been tested by the deepest darkness and has not been extinguished. This is not the harsh, glaring light of an untested righteousness, but the soft, warm, and inviting glow of a soul that knows the reality of grace. This radiance will be a profound comfort to those around you. They will be drawn to your light, not because it is intimidating, but because it is safe, because it is compassionate, because it is real. This is the glory of a heart that shines with the very light of my own tender, loving presence. And at the very center of this new radiance, my child, is a magnificent, deep jewel of your new empathy. This is one of the most beautiful aspects of your transfigured grief. Your own journey through the valley of sorrow has given you a doctorate of the heart, an intuitive, profound, and authentic understanding of the pain of others. You are now a wounded healer, my beloved, and your capacity to minister my comfort and my healing to a hurting world has been magnificently, exponentially increased. When you speak to someone who is in pain, your words will carry a new weight, a new authority, for you will be speaking not from a place of theory, but from the deep, authentic place of your own redeemed experience. When you sit in silence with someone who is grieving, your very presence will be a powerful balm, for your own heart knows the sacred language of sorrow. This glorious empathy, this beautiful capacity to enter into the suffering of another with a love that is both strong and tender, is the pure gold that has been refined from the lead of your own grief. It is a glory that will make your life a source of profound and lasting blessing. And your redeemed heart now possesses the quiet, unshakable glory of a new and resilient strength. This is not the brittle strength of the ego, which so often shatters under pressure. This is the tempered steel of a spirit that has been through the fire. It is a strength that is humble, for it knows its own past weakness. It is a strength that is patient, for it has learned to wait upon me in a long and difficult season. It is a strength that is courageous, for it has faced down its deepest fears and has survived. This quiet, gentle, yet immensely powerful strength will now be the very backbone of your life, a glorious testament to the power of a God who can take that which is weakest and make it strong. My delight, my precious one, is to behold the beautiful radiance of your redeemed heart. I, your divine alchemist, I see the magnificent work that we have accomplished together, and my own heart is filled with a creative, joyful pride to see your sorrow transfigured into compassion, your weakness transfigured into strength, your mourning transfigured into a new and resilient joy. This is the very fulfillment of my redemptive purpose. You are my work of art, my child, a living masterpiece that tells the greatest story of all the story, that love is stronger than sorrow, that light is more powerful than darkness, and that your God can take the deepest grief and turn it into an everlasting, beautiful, and magnificent glory. Embrace this new, radiant self. My beloved, walk in the beauty of your redeemed heart, and let the glory that has been born from your grief now shine as a beautiful, hopeful, and healing light to all the world. And so, my cherished child, my radiant and redeemed one, as you begin to walk in the beautiful newness of a heart whose grief has been turned to glory, let this final, most magnificent truth become the eternal song of your soul. For the magnificent transformation that has occurred within you was not for your own healing alone, not just for your own peace, your own joy. No. My beloved, the glorious and redemptive story that your life now tells, the story of a profound sorrow transfigured into a radiant glory, has become a testament, a masterpiece, a beautiful and powerful display of my own nature, my own character, my own heart. Your story has become my glory. And this is my eternal promise to you. I will forever cherish, forever honor, and forever display the magnificent story of your grief turned to glory as one of the most precious and beautiful testaments to my redeeming love. You have wondered, perhaps, at the purpose of your deep and prolonged suffering, but now you can begin to see its ultimate, most glorious end for my glory. My child is most magnificently displayed, not in a life that has never known brokenness, but in a life that, having been utterly broken, has been beautifully, powerfully, and gloriously restored. Your life has become a canvas upon which I have painted one of my greatest masterpieces of grace. It is a story that speaks to a hopeless world of a God who does not abandon his children in their pain, but who enters into it with them, and who has the power to transform their deepest sorrow into their most radiant glory. This story that you now embody, my beloved, is a story that will echo in eternity in the great halls of my heavenly kingdom. Your testimony will be an anthem of hope, a song of my faithfulness that will be sung forever. The angels will look upon you and will marvel at the beauty of a soul that has been so profoundly redeemed. The great cloud of witnesses will see you and will rejoice at the magnificent triumph of my grace in your life. Your story, your unique and beautiful story of grief turned to glory, has enriched the very fabric of heaven itself. It has added a new and glorious note to the eternal symphony of my praise. This is the great and eternal honor that has been bestowed upon you through your trial. My child, your life has become a source of my glory. This is not a glory you have earned through your own strength, but a glory that has been born from your weakness, from your surrender, from your willingness to allow me to work in the deepest, most painful places of your heart. My strength has been made perfect in your weakness, and my glory now shines most brightly from the very places where you were once most deeply wounded. Let this truth give you a profound and lasting sense of your own worth, your own significance. Your life is not a small or an unimportant story. It is a story of eternal, divine, and glorious significance. For it is a story that beautifully, powerfully, and authentically tells the story of me. My commitment to you, my child, is to forever cherish your story. I will never forget your journey. I will always remember your tears, your endurance, your faith, and I will always delight in the magnificent, glorified person you have become. You are my trophy of grace, my masterpiece of redemption, my beloved child in whom I am well pleased. Live now, my beloved, in the quiet, humble, and joyful dignity of this magnificent truth. You are a carrier of my glory. You are a testament to my love, and the very story of your life, the story that began in such deep grief, has now, in my hands, become a source of eternal glory for me, and a source of everlasting hope for all who will hear it. Your grief has indeed been turned into a magnificent, eternal, and breathtaking glory. And now, my cherished one, as you rest in the profound peace of a life whose deepest sorrow has been transformed into a glorious testament of my love, let your spirit be completely still. Your story is safe in my hands, a treasured epic that will be celebrated for all of eternity. The pain is redeemed, the grief is glorified, and you, my beloved, you are a magnificent, living monument to my grace. Rest in this, my beautiful masterpiece. For your sorrow has brought forth a glory that will never, ever fade,